So I'm going to talk about my Super Nintendo game collection in this video. These are all games that are complete in the box, and you know what? I don't know what happened, but at some point in the last couple of years or last few years, it seems the market for retro video games like Super Nintendo games, especially if they're complete in the box, has taken off as far as like what the prices can be seen realized on eBay. So let's see. Let's start off with, I got Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, and again, all these games are complete in the box. I haven't bought any of these off eBay in quite a few years, but for example, I think, I'm not sure, this I think would probably goes for about $50 or so on eBay still in used condition like this, as long as it has the box and the manual and the inserts. Here's a big one. This is a game that I pieced together to make it complete. This is a Chrono Trigger. So I recall buying the game in the box, and then I think I had to buy the maps separately and then the manual separately, or maybe the manual came with it, I don't remember, but I pieced it together, and this is probably one of the more valuable games that I own. If you run a completed listings or sold listings on eBay, you'll see that these, fully intact, I think they sell for like a couple $100. I have this for the DS. I played halfway through it, and I got bored. I know that's probably blasphemy. Maybe I didn't give it enough time, but I didn't play the SNES version. I just picked this up just to have it for my collection. Here's Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I bought this brand new on eBay quite some time ago, I think for like $15. If I had left it sealed, it's probably worth a couple $100. Even with the box and manual and complete, it still has some pretty good value. It's a great game, probably my favorite game, one of my favorite games of all time. I had this once before, sold it, and then I rebought it. If there's one thing that I learned in life is to never sell your video games, because you always end up regretting it later. Here's another good one, really good one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Again, this one is complete, and this one also goes for pretty good money on eBay in this condition. Factory seal games are a whole different story. Those are big bucks, and I got a few of those I'll show at the end. Here's another good one, Super Punch-Out, classic. I think it was around this time when the Super Nintendo just kept putting out hit after hit after hit. Super Punch-Out, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, all kinds of good games, Street Fighter. Here's an obscure one. This is the Combat Tribes from Technos, the same company that I believe did Double Dragon. It's kind of similar. It's a Street Fighter type of game, a brawler. Here is Super Mario Land 2, or Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. And this is Super Mario All-Stars. Some of the boxes are in better condition than others. Here's my most recent Super Nintendo pickup. I got this last December. Super Batter Up. This is the spiritual successor to the original RBI Baseball, maybe. Made by the same company. Now I got the Star Wars trilogy of games. I've got Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, and Super Return of the Jedi. And then I have the Donkey Kong trilogy, Donkey Kong Country, Part 2 and Part 3. This next one is huge. Super Metroid. I bought this off of eBay at least 10 years ago or more. I bought it brand new for $50. I had owned it at one time, I sold it, and bought it back. Probably one of the best games of all time, period. And this one also has some pretty good value on eBay too, even opened, but as long as you have all the materials with it. Here's another big one, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. This is a good game. I've played through this a couple of times. Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures, made by the same folks who did the Star Wars trilogy. Here's a big one, Final Fantasy III. This one's complete, box, maps, manuals, you name it. This game is epic. I remember when I finished this game the first time, the ending was, I think it's like a half hour, 30-minute long ending to this game, just to sit back and watch the ending. Really good game. I had bought this, sold it, and I sold it with the official Nintendo Player's Guide manual, I think for $50. Way back when. Then I ended up rebuying this. Here's the X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Here's The Legend of Zelda. Link to the Past. Here's a big one, Contra 3, The Alien Wars. I think this one was like a... This isn't the original version. This one has... what I mean by that is the manual. The manual for this game is in black and white, not color. So I think this was reprinted or redistributed by somebody else. I don't know the story behind that, but like the true original copies have the colored manual. This one's in black and white, whatever. The game still plays the same. And then here is Ken Griffey Jr. Winning Run. I prefer the original. I ended up selling it. It's a lot better than this, I think. I'm terrible at this game. Came with a baseball card. And finally, I've got 3 sealed games, which I don't know, there's a big market for this stuff nowadays, it seems like, because they're harder and harder to find. But the first one that I have is this Legend of Zelda. It's the Player's Choice Million Seller Edition, but it is still sealed and intact. And this was sent to me by mistake. The other Zelda game, that was purchased off eBay, and then the seller sent me another one, probably, obviously by mistake. He probably meant to send it to somebody else. But that's what the story is behind having this sealed copy. This was sent to me for nothing. And I think at the time it was $19.99 from the eBay seller, so that's a pretty good deal. The next one I have is Marvel War of the Gems. Completely factory sealed. And these video games I've shown before on my other channel, the Darth Fungus Video Archive channel, in my collection of rare sealed games. So these aren't the first time you're seeing these if you've seen that other video. And this is probably the biggest one that I have. This Demon's Crest from Capcom. I do recall buying this on eBay for $16.99, better part of 10 years ago, from a seller who had several of these copies, and in hindsight I probably should have bought them all because I've seen a sealed copy sell on eBay for in excess of $300, and there's a couple up there right now that are graded. I don't know if I'd ever grade my games, but the guy's asking me like $500, but with no offers. So this is a pretty big one to have. Demon's Crest. And that is the extent of my Super Nintendo game collection. I do have Mario World that came with the system, but there's no box with that. These are all my boxed and complete SNES games. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.